Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about plank variations. Now obviously when you're first starting out your core strength is going to be quite limited, so you need to start off in a position that's not going to be causing you more harm than giving you a benefit. So we're going to start off with the real basic starting positions, then we're going to progress through to the more advanced variations where you're going to need much more core stability and potentially more upper body strength depending on the variation that we're going to perform. When people come to prime mover, a lot of the time they think because we're not doing loads of crunches that we're not doing any abdominal work. That's not really the case. I mean, when you're like the plank is one of the best exercises you can do because it really helps all the small stabilizing muscles, which is what the core is really there for. The core, it's not just the muscles that you have down the front of your stomach that bring your shoulders closer to your hips. It's all about being able to hold yourself in an upright position and maintain that safe position for your back. Because we're not doing loads of crunches, it doesn't mean that we're not working the core. We just do different exercises and what we feel are more beneficial exercises to actually strengthen the body. So the first plank variation that we're going to show is the basic plank, where you've got your arms, you're supporting yourself on your arms with your legs fully extended. In this variation you want your feet together because you'll be able to engage your glutes more, and this is what you really need to focus on. Is it's not just about really hammering the stomach, it's about stabilising through the lower back, engaging the glutes, engaging the fronts of the thighs, and also making sure that you're in a stable position with the upper body. So you want to make sure that if you're looking from the side, your shoulder is above the elbow, and also as you put your hands on the floor, if you can rotate, almost feel like you're screwing your elbows into the floor. You're not grinding your elbows across the ground, but you're just squeezing yourself in, and that's going to help stabilise the upper back and the shoulders. So you're going to pull the shoulders together and set them, almost feel like you're pulling them down. Okay, so this is the position that you're in on the floor. So you're here, so your shoulders above your elbow. When you're in this position, shoulders above the elbow, you feel like you're rotating your elbows in slightly and pull those shoulder blades together. That gives you a stable position in the upper back, and from there you want to be engaged through the core, keeping the glutes engaged, and as I said before, the thighs. Feet together, holding your body in a perfectly straight line so that your hips and your shoulders are as in line as possible, and also don't dip the chin or crane the neck back. Try and keep the head so you're looking straight down at the floor, because if you start moving the neck out of position, that's going to disrupt the kinetic chain and that's going to cause weakness and you won't be able to hold it for as long. So keep focused, just looking straight down at the floor, focus on your breathing, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Try and find a happy place so that you can maintain it for some extra time, and try and take your mind off the discomfort. Obviously, if you're really struggling, drop your knees down for a second, give yourself that couple of seconds break, then back to the full plank. Or if it is just too much, we're going to go down into the first regression that we're going to talk about, which would be the plank from the knees. Now, when you're doing the plank from the knees, you still want to make sure you've got that hip position leveled out, so you want a straight line from knee through to shoulder. If you bend at the hips, if you're sticking your backside up in the air, you're just disengaging the abdominals altogether, and really you're not doing anything. So those are the first two. You've got your full plank, and then you've got the regression. If that's too difficult, you've got the regression from the knees. There is actually a move that we can do in between that, and we're going to talk about that next. So the elevated plank, basically this is a full plank, but you're doing it with your arms in an elevated position, which is actually taking some of the pressure off the structure of your body, because you're not having to hold it in that flat position. So with the elevated plank, it's exactly the same as the full plank, but you just have your arms on a slightly raised surface. As you start to develop strength in that position, you can start taking yourself to a lower and lower support, and eventually you'll be down to the floor. So that really is the stepping stone between the plank from the knees and then the full plank. Another variation we've got when you're just starting out that can make it easier is the arms extended plank. Okay, so like with the elevated plank, where you're doing the full plank position on a raised surface, you do the arms extended plank, so you've got your arms fully extended as it says. holding your body in that straight position, but because you've extended your arms, you've changed the angle of the body, which has taken off some of the stress. So once you've got the full plank under control, what we can start and do then is lift a leg. Okay, so as you're performing the plank, you've got your feet together. What we're going to do is just lift one foot. And the main thing we need to minimise is the roll with the hips, because as soon as you lift that foot, your body's going to start trying to roll into what was being supported by the leg. So you've really got to then kick in. So if you're lifting your right leg, you're going to have to kick in hard through the muscles in the left side of your body to really be able to resist that rotation. So as your hips are trying to drop, you've got to kick in and maintain that position. Squeezing hard through the glutes again. An extension of that would be, once you're able to do the single leg, you could start lifting the leg out to the side, and that's going to start offer an even bigger rotation force, which you're going to have to resist. So that would be another progression that you can do, where you're adding some instability to the plank. So another variation on the standard plank is assuming the regular plank position as you normally would, and this one almost looks like you're doing the plank wrong, but if you're doing it with the right intention, then you will get the desired effect. What you want to do is raise your hips ever so slightly, okay, and this is why it looks like you're doing it wrong. But as you do that, you're actively pulling, or feel like you're pulling, your chest to your knees and your knees to your chest, and that's going to get a real strong contraction through the abdominals. So like I say, you've got to make sure that if you're just sticking your hips up in the air and not being conscious of the contraction that you're trying to perform, you're not going to get the effect. So this is why you've got to be really sort of strict with what you're doing. Raise those hips a little bit, pull the chest, or feel like you're pulling your chest to your knees to your chest, and you'll really feel the difference through the abdominals. Initially, what we're going to do is extend the arm out, so you're reaching out like a Superman. So you're reaching out straight in front. You can do this prime movement where we've got the halfway signalling the rounds. If it's a 30-second round, for example, you could do 15 seconds one side. When it says halfway there, you can switch, and that will give you a different effect. Now what you need to make sure is that as you're lifting the arm, you're not rotating the body. Okay, so we need to try and maintain that static position. The only difference is that you've lifted one elbow off the floor. So that's your first single arm example. What we can start doing then is to add more instability to the move. We can start bringing the arm out to the side. Now initially you might raise the arm out with a bent arm, so basically the weight distribution that you've got is less than if you extended the arm. So if you're in this position and you do this, that's obviously taking you off, so you've got more core activation to stop yourself rocking what was being supported by the right elbow. If you extend that arm right out, that's adding more weight that's trying to pull you down, so that's increasing the instability. So that would be the next couple of progressions. You've got the arm straight out. From there, once you can do that, then you're going to take the elbow out to the side, almost like a reverse fly. And then from there, once you can do that, we can then start extending the arm out. Now again, it might be that you do the arm extended. Once you can do the arm extended, but you can't do it for the full round, when you start to fatigue, you can bring it in, and that's going to give you an extra few seconds. From there, you might then bring the elbow back into a full plank and finish the round. But just just because you can't do it for a full round doesn't mean you can't experiment with it. So that would be the next couple of progressions that we'd be looking at with a single arm. Okay, so going back to the single arm and the single leg, once you're able to perform both of those without rolling into any rotation, you can really make this more difficult by doing the Superman plank, which is raising the left arm and the right leg, or the right arm and the left leg. You always do opposites. Don't try and do the same side, you'll just fall over like a two-leg table. What we're going to, when you're doing this, the rotation forces that you'll feel through your torso are going to be quite extreme, so you don't want to be trying to attempt this until you can safely do the single arm and the single leg individually for 50 seconds on each. Okay, so with the Superman plank, it's one arm and the opposite leg. Okay, so this next one's called a press-up plank. So basically all you're doing is getting into a press-up position, lowering, because if you think about it, a press-up is just a plank, it's a dynamic plank, as we spoke about in the press-up video before. What you're going to do is get into a press-up position, lower yourself into the bottom of the press-up, and just hold it there. Okay, so that's your press-up plank. And just holding it for the full duration of the round in that position. Another press up plank variation is the close grip press up plank. So with that one, as you would with a close grip press up, you're bringing the elbows in so the insides of your arm is brushing your body. You're lowering to the bottom portion of the press up, so your nose is almost on the floor and you're just holding it there. Okay, so this is going to work the triceps much more. I find that this is an easier position to hold, even though you're using slightly weaker muscles, because you're tight into your body. It just seems like a more stable position than holding it out in the full press up plank. Okay, so this one is quite an extreme one. What we're going to do here is the crucifix plank. So, like Jesus on a cross, if you believe in that sort of stuff, arms fully extended, and you're going to support yourself with your arms as wide as you can get. Your face is going to be near the floor. You're going to keep the head neutral. You're not curving it back or dipping the chin. You're just going to hold yourself as long as you can. Feet together, body in a straight line, arms extended. That's a crucifix plank. Okay, so this one's called the jumping jack plank, and what we're going to do is, with a jumping jack, where you'd be jumping like a star jump, your arms out to the sides, legs out, we're going to assume that position and we're going to hold that as long as we can. So that's the jumping jack plank.